Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's Noble Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Amor Artis Brewing Company out of Fort Mill, South Carolina. This beer is called Carolina Kumquat. It is a barrel-aged sour ale with kumquats. It is 5.7 ABV. I can't stand when places put yellow or put white font on top of a yellow background. It's almost unreadable. I don't understand why they do that. It says, after aging our golden sour base in wine barrels for 12 months and infusing it with pounds of fruit from St. Helena, South Carolina, the sour ale will taste like you're biting into a fresh kumquat. See, yeah, it's so hard to read. And I will say, I don't know that I've ever even had a kumquat before. I've had a couple of beers that were made with them. That's so funny how that works. Like, I don't think I've ever had a pawpaw before. I don't think I've ever had a currant before, but I've had mead and beer made with those fruits. So this looks a lot more carbonated than the last beer from them that I opened, their barrel-aged Belgian wit. That was pretty flat. This looks appropriately carbonated. It's a cloudy straw color with a nice fluffy white head. So the first thing that I get is a little bit of like oaky vanilla barrel character. A little bit of cheesy funk. And there's definitely a little bit of like that stone fruit juiciness to it as well, and some like minerality. It smells pretty nice, but all those things are like subtle too. They're not super in your face, so I think it's gonna be a really light tasting beer. We'll see. Yeah. It's pretty nice. So like I said, I'm not too familiar with what kumquat actually tastes like. But this does have a little bit of like tropical stone fruit flavor. Definitely some oaky, woody notes from the barrel. And also it's a little musty too. I like that it's very dry, and there's just enough acidity to keep it from being too dry and overcarbonated. But it's definitely not sweet either. But it's not like super tart fruit. It's a very nicely balanced. It's a very nice balance of acidity, carbonation, and sweetness. I like that a lot. But at the same time, like none of the flavors are super bright. But I think that's probably just more of a maturation of their house yeast more than anything. I mean, I can drink this all day. And again, if I knew like what a kumquat tasted like fresh, I might have a different mentality of how big the fruit character is in this. But to me, it's not that big. It's just like a small element in an American wild ale. But there are some American wild ales without fruit. Excuse me, have a fruity component to them just because of the yeast. So this comes off more like that than something that's super fruit forward like a framboise, or I don't mean Lindemans. I mean like a Grand Cru, Framboise, or, you know, a lot of the beers with peaches or apricots are the fruit is very bright. Um, there is something too. It's a little like green apple-y here, but it doesn't. I don't think it's acetaldehyde. I think it's just something again from the yeast and from the fruit. It actually kind of reminds me of I made a quince Brett beer one time. It actually turned out very, very good, but this kind of reminds me of that, and I wish I could. I don't even know if those are available down here in North Carolina, but I got them in Pittsburgh. My friend that I used to live with had a little quince bush in his backyard, and I took them all and ground them up and made juice out of it and added it to like a Brett beer that I made, and it actually turned out fantastic. This kind of the aroma of this reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing super complex about this, but there's also not anything offensive about it, and that doesn't, I guess that sounds like, well, there's nothing good or bad, so it's mediocre, but that's really not the case. Um, I would say it's not top notch, but it's also better than 90% of the American wild ales, because a lot of the ones you get, there's usually something like a little rough about it. There's no rough edges to this at all. It's just it's very, very drinkable and a nice American wild ale. It's just none of the flavors are super bright. I feel like if they were, this would be top notch, just not quite there. So on my scale of buy, drink, dump, I'm gonna give this a buy. I think this was like $15 for a bottle or something like that, which, for a 500 milliliter of a really nice barrel aged American wild ale, I think that's completely justifiable. Yeah, I would buy it again. So I think that's all I got in this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.